Welcome everyone to this edition of Talented Universe on the NDB Media Network. Today, see if I can get it right today, is the 25th of November, 2024. First, I would like to welcome my special guest host this week, Jonathan Perry. How are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. And our special guest today, singer-songwriter TYLER HERWIG. TYLER, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm excited that you said yes to us. You came up in my Instagram feed a couple of times, and I went, I kind of like what I'm hearing. So
good. That's the goal, you know?
Yeah, that is the goal. So tell us just, briefly about yourself and how you got into music.
Oh gosh, that's a great story. For some context, I've been performing professionally now for 15 years. I'm 31, so I started when I was about 16 years old, and it all got started for me in high school when I learned that girls really like musicians.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm.
I was in love with this girl from like the second grade until junior year of high school. I heard a rumor from a friend of a friend of a friend that she liked musicians more than anything in the world. So I decided to teach myself how to play guitar. I learned all of her favorite songs, and then I got this idea in my head that I was going to put on like a mini concert for her, and at the very end I was going to ask her to prom. So I got all of our friends together.
This wasn't when you were in second grade you found this out. Okay,
no,
okay. I was going, okay, you found this out in second grade and you started, okay. So, like I said, prom in second grade. I said,
no, that was in high school. I was in love with her since the second grade.
Okay, but I thought, never, that's just me. It's, okay, keep going. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. So I put on this little concert for her. At the very end, I looked at her and I said, would you go to prom with me? And she said no. And that broke my little heart. The worst part about it was that all of my friends were there to immediately start making fun of me. And after they got bored, they left. I did what any 16-year-old boy with a broken heart would do in the parking lot of a Taco John's. I ordered like 30 tacos, and I opened up the trunk of my car, and I sat in the trunk eating tacos, crying and singing sad songs to just work through all of those emotions. And while I was doing that and throwing myself this pity party, this woman pulled through the drive-thru, heard me singing, and she came over and asked if I would sing in her wedding. And that was the moment that I really truly fell in love with music. And it was more than just trying to impress a pretty girl. I realized in that moment I could make someone's day a little bit more special. I could make a moment a little bit more memorable by doing something that I had learned to love to do. And I've chased that feeling every day for 15 years now. And that's how I got started.
Oh, that is so wild. So wild. Did you have any follow-up for that, Jonathan? Or
no, that's crazy. That's actually funny though, because I can kind of relate to that a little bit in high school, doing the music thing and trying to impress like the girls. That's so funny. So yeah,
I was singing down the halls, just like every time I would see a girl that I didn't recognize, I was like, I can impress you real quick. I can sing a high note. Your jaw will drop, and I'll get your phone number.
Yeah, literally. That's awesome. That's cool.
Now, TYLER, do you think that your friends put you up to this and they weren't telling you the truth about this girl really liked musicians? Or
not at all. I think they were being totally honest, and I think they had good intentions. To be honest, when I first started, I was not very good. Like, I was not an impressive person. I was an okay singer naturally, but it took a lot of work for me to really refine my voice and understand how to breathe correctly. And it was something that I loved to do, but I had to work to get good at it.
Okay. So you got better as you went. So.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you'd had 3 more years experience, that girl would have gone out with you think, for prom?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I think so too. I really do. Because that usually is the best way. Now, I was going to ask you, but we got a little late start. You got some concerts lined up.
A lot, yes.
A lot. And if you don't mind, can I just throw them up on the screen so people can see them? Because I went to your webpage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so let me see if I can do this correctly. And so here we go. I can, let me just put it up totally on the screen. I'll get rid of us for a minute. So it's a little bit bigger for people. So a lot of your concerts, you got one tonight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say the times on this. So
if you click on them, it should pull up the time.
It pulls up the time. Okay, so if people want to go to Tyler's webpage. I think it's TYLERHERWIG.com.
Yep, TYLERHERWIG.com.
I believe. Yeah. So it'll come up. It'll scroll down, but go there and then you just go under concerts and you can see it. So you've got in Lakeville, Minnesota tonight, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's your fun one. So there's the list. Go to his webpage and you can pull it up. All right. Now I'm going to go back to our normal view here so we can just chit chat a little bit more. But I just wanted to throw that up so people could see that you've got some concerts lined up, and then go to the webpage and get more info and get tickets and all the details and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Tyler, how would you categorize yourself in the music world? Country pop?
Yeah, I would say I lean more towards the country pop, but I've bounced around quite a bit over the last decade and a half of performing. I've fallen in love with all different genres and styles of music, and so my goal is to create music in all of those different genres. It can be a little confusing for people at first. I totally understand that, but I always tell people I'm kind of like their own personal radio dial. Like whatever you want to listen to, I've probably done or have plans to do, because I've bounced around from hip hop to singer-songwriter to like your George Strait style country to, something that's just dripping in Justin Bieber swag left and right. And so I don't want to put myself necessarily in one box. My goal is to instead find people that resonate with the stories I'm trying to tell and bring them into the fan base. And that's been definitely challenging at times, but it's been a lot of fun to try and just be in all these different buckets.
Mm-hmm. And which, do you have one that you enjoy more, or kind of you do like jumping around and that's what you really like?
I really do like jumping around. I think to me, it's whatever serves the story I'm trying to tell the best. Like for my last several releases, I've talked about either my family or my recovery from addiction. And those are kind of the things that I'm most passionate about when it comes to writing. And so I try and find a genre of music that serves the song the best. And that's why I jump around as much as I do.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, you got something?
Yeah, I have a question. So we all have, as singers and like artists, we all have that like defining moment where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like this is what I want to pursue, what I want to go after. So other than you're trying to impress the girl at prom, was there a moment that you were like, this is exactly what I was put here to do. Like, this is what I'm going to pursue. Can you tell us about like that moment that you're like, I'm going to pursue being a singer, being an artist? Like, this was the moment that really spelled that out for me.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, like even starting in high school when I kind of was trying to impress girls with it, I had that desire that I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be the next big thing. Yeah. And it was always for these selfish reasons. Like I wanted money, I wanted attention, I wanted popularity, I wanted this, and this. And then about 5 years ago, I got clean from drug addiction. And that was when I realized that I no longer wanted to pursue a career in music to be famous for myself. I wanted to impact lives. I realized that the songs I was singing, the stories I wanted to tell through music could maybe help one other person not make the same mistakes that I had made. And so I really wanted to, in the most selfless way possible, give my music away to the people that needed to hear it. With, again, that goal of just let's save one life with a song. I know music saved my life many, many times. And as an artist now. That's kind of my number one priority, is to say, hey, I've been where you are. I felt this way. I felt anxious, depressed. I felt trapped, but I found another way, and I want to help other people figure that out so they can get what now I've gotten, which is this really cool music career, this beautiful family that I have, a wife that just loves and supports me endlessly. And I think more people can get that if they pursue their dreams.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that, because music is so healing. Like, that's the one thing that I grew up singing in church. And for me, like, the defining moment for me was like when, you know, everybody comes to church for like reasons, but it's when it touches you. That's what it's about. And that's why I sing. And so I love that. That's cool, because music is just like, it speaks through everything. Like, it does so many things like you're going through, like it can speak to you for so many different reasons. So that's cool.
Yeah, even through language barriers. Like I have some fans that follow me that tune into some of my TikTok lives, and they barely speak English. But they're still able to connect with the music because they can feel the emotions coming through and relate. And that's the most powerful thing, in my opinion, about music, is that it transcends language barriers if you're able to communicate with it properly.
Yep. No, yeah, exactly. It's different when you can, especially when you can tell the artist is it's coming from a place of like hurt or somewhere that they've been. That's for me, like for performing and singing. Like, I really want to help somebody understand that, like, this is where I've been, but this is where you don't have to stay. Like, you can keep pushing, you can make it through. So I love that. That's cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Tyler, I was going to ask you, you were just talking about breaking barriers of language. I have noticed that myself. I mean, my main co-host is from South Africa, and he did sing some songs in English, but then he was singing songs in Afrikaans, and I had no idea what anything was, but the feeling that I got from the songs, I mean, it's powerful, and it does. It totally goes. It can go anywhere. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Let's see. I totally lost my chain of thought for my other question I was going to ask, but what? Oh, I know what it was. You've got an interesting event coming up this winter. Do you remember what that is?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
Well, like welcoming your second child.
Yes, my son is going to be born here in January. We're really excited.
So
he's a bit of a surprise, but we're excited.
Well, but that's okay. That's okay. And you have a daughter right now, correct?
Yes, and she was also a surprise. My wife and I actually found out we were pregnant with my daughter, 3 or 4 weeks after we got married. So it all kind of happened a little bit quicker than we were initially planning. But it's been really cool to see just how much how much one's heart can grow. Like, I didn't really expect that. It's a totally different kind of love. Like, I can't really even put to words the way that I love my daughter is so different than the way that I love my parents or my wife or my friends. It's just this whole new thing, and it's beautiful to see, and kind of scary at times to know that I'm going to be raising this child. And I made my fair share of mistakes, and I'm kind of a goofy, dorky guy, so she's going to be a really interesting kid, let's say the least. And to be thrown into doing it again is it's exciting, but really intimidating as well.
Yeah, well, I get that. But before we go on, I do want to say thank you, Jennifer Hill-Lamont, for your like on Facebook. We do appreciate it. Glad you're there listening. Please, if anyone out there in cyberspace is looking at this show live and they want to ask Tyler a question, please post it in the comments there next to the video. And if we haven't already asked him the question, we will throw it up there for him to answer it for you.
Yeah, I'm an open book, so ask anything you want.
Oh, good. Open book. Yeah, we didn't get to ask that before we went on either. But anyway, that's fine. Open books are good.
Yes. I have a question, actually.
Oh, good. Just jump in, Jonathan. This is not structured. I'm sad about that. So
you're based in Nashville, right?
I am actually based in Minneapolis.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, like, explain to me, like, because I'm in that weird season of like, okay, like, where am I going to move? What am I going to do next? Because like, finishing the voice. So like, how did you make the decision to like, okay, Minneapolis is where I'm going to go? Like, and how are you like pursuing everything music wise there?
Sure. So, I mean, I grew up in this area just about 70 miles south of Minneapolis, and I moved up here for school and kind of never left. I've considered moving to Nashville many times, but all my friends that live in Nashville tell me they actually really regret it because they can't make it. You don't make as much money performing in Nashville. So they're based in Nashville, but they go tour outside of Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided after some conversations with them to like, I'll just hop into Nashville when I need to do some recording or I'm playing at like, I have to do the CMA fan fest in June, play in front of like thousands of people. So like I'll fly in for those major things, but I can be based other places and still do my touring. And over the last several years of kind of growing a fan base here across the Midwest, I've been able to get to a point where I can gig full time. And so that's where the majority of my income really comes from. I mean, as I'm sure you know, as an artist, we don't make much off of streams.
No.
If anything. So you could stream my song 1 million times. I probably made $30. Well, thank you for streaming my song, but it's just, there's no money in it.
Yes.
And so I've gotten to a point now where I actually average about 280 live performances a year across the Midwest.
Okay, nice.
And the majority of those are within 100 miles of Minneapolis. So it allows me to stay close to home, build a really cool local following, but still be involved with my family. So I'm not just constantly traveling and on the road. It's also forced me to get really creative and artistic in a way with how I book my performances. I think one of the biggest barriers that a lot of aspiring musicians run into is they don't understand how to be creative about getting themselves in front of an audience. Yep. And so, I mean, when I first kind of got the bug to really jump into this full time, I was talking to like Walmarts and Targets asking if I could play in the parking lot and they wouldn't call the cops. Like, I just let me set up my speakers and an acoustic guitar and like just sing. I just needed to build a fan base. And that was something I literally did that, just trying to get a couple fans that would come see me at a better venue. And so I think just getting creative with how I'm booking and where I'm playing has been another thing that's really pushed me to be able to make a full-time career out of music.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like artists, you have to be willing to play anywhere. Remember, like my first gig with our trio, we literally played at a cafe next to a Publix, and like literally, and like basically in a parking lot. So it's you just got to get creative, and it's all about like marketing yourself and being able to literally be willing to sing wherever for like literally $100. So it's cool. It's just like being open. I feel like that's where so many artists they're not willing to put in the work and to do those like things that they may think are like beneath them. But at the end of the day, like nothing is beneath you. It's exposure no matter what. So
it's how hard are you willing to work and what are you willing to do to get the result that you ultimately want to get out of it. And like I said, I've been doing this for 15 years. I haven't been on The Voice. I haven't blown up. I'm not viral on TikTok or anything like that. But I know that I'm willing to work harder than 99% of the other people. And so I know that with time and continued hard work, I'll get the results that I'm looking for eventually.
Oh, absolutely. And I think too, like just our culture of like where we live in and where we are is like in the world right now, like people don't want to work. Like nobody wants to work, like especially people that are younger than us, because we're both in our 30s. So like younger people, they just want to post a video and like hope it goes viral. And like that's all we did. So like for us, I feel like we're a part of the generation that like we still understand what it's like to have to work for what we want and like really chase our dreams and go after it. And so that's cool. Like I love that we can relate on that. So
yeah, absolutely.
The other thing is what you just said. I mean, I have run across a lot of people, they do a TikTok video and it just blows up. Year later, you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They don't want to do the work. And I really appreciate the artists that keep working at it and try. I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy life at all. And
no,
people that think that it is, I mean, most people, if they do want to pursue music, they do have to have another job. They have to have something that's stable so they can pursue their dream, because that they probably don't really like their job that great all the time, and
Mhm.
music gives them purpose and a reason and a reason to
Yeah.
creating, and that is very, very important for everyone, and I wish more people realize that. I mean, they just don't realize creating really gets us going and makes us better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of creating, how did you get into songwriting? Because for me, like, I can't write a song. I can sit down and tell you how I feel all day, but I can't put it like into words. So how did you like get into that? Because I feel like honestly, that's like a talent in itself. So how did you discover
Yeah,
that?
I would totally agree. It really is like a whole separate skill set
Yeah.
that you have to refine, like most things in life. There's a lot of practice, and I know Ed Sheeran actually has a really great. I'm gonna butcher this quote, but basically, by paraphrasing, he says that he tries to write 3 songs every single day. Like that's
Wow.
his goal. And if you think that, I mean, dude's got a ton of albums out there, but if you think he's writing over 1,000 songs a year, and maybe we hear 16 of them.
Mhm.
So it's like there's a lot of trial and error and failure that comes with that. And I think failing forward and learning from that is the way to get better at it. For me, it really started when I was a teenager. My brother's best friend passed away pretty tragically over a New Year's weekend, and that was when I started writing poetry. And I eventually decided to take a poem that I had written for him and put that to song, and that was how I got started writing. And I saw the effects that that song had on like the whole school, really, because everyone knew who this guy was, and it helped so many people to grieve appropriately, and it gave them an outlet to connect with that I kind of I wanted to start taking other stories and putting that to music too. And so for me, when it comes to writing, I think about what story do I want to tell today?
Mhm.
And like I had mentioned before, now I write almost exclusively either about not doing drugs, or I write about my wife and my daughter, because that's the story I want to tell is, hey, I've been where you are, but if you make different choices, here's the result you can get. And this is a pretty amazing result. But there's a lot of struggles that come along with that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool that like music, it really based on like the stage of life that you're in, like what you write and like how you perform and what you're doing. It really like is based on like stages of life. And I have so many artists or hear so many artists. They're like, oh, this album, I was in this stage of life at this time. And you can really see like someone's life like through their music, which again, it's so powerful. And I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the coolest things that I've had the opportunity to do over the years is, I started building my fan base when I was like a teenager, and it's grown quite a bit now. But I still have fans that saw me when I was 16 years old, singing, at weddings and in high school talent shows and stuff. And so to be able to stay connected with them over the last 15 years and hear their perspective on what it's like to watch me go from innocent kid to struggling drug-addled, young adult to now in my 30s with a wife and family. It's really, really interesting and kind of fun to say, like, there were times where some of my fans didn't know if I was going to make it, like alive. But they've always believed in the music and the stories that I had to tell. And so to hear their feedback on, wow, you've come so far already, and we still believe that you're going to go farther, has been an exciting thing for me.
Yeah, I feel like that makes it believable too. Like once your fans know that you've been through a hard time,
Yeah.
that makes you more relatable because at the end of the day, like we're all people, no matter how famous you are or how not famous you are. Like we're all people and we all go through hard times. And I feel like that's what people want to relate to because life is hard. Like life is full of like you're either in the valley, you're on the mountaintop, or you're somewhere in between. So I feel like if you can portray that to like your fans and know that they're along for the journey with you, like that's seriously what it's about. So
Absolutely, especially in a world of social media where people really just want to see the highlight reel, not all the in between. So to be able to have opportunities for people to connect on a deeper level and see that in between stuff has been really fun.
yeah, that's awesome. Love that.
Do you think that the fans that you've had since you were a teenager, um, do you interact with them a lot, or is it just a little bit?
It's definitely picked up over the last year. I started doing something kind of cool, and I created this online community that's separate from all social media because I realized I had fans in all these different places, and I wanted to find a way to bring them together. So with the help of a company called Modern Musician, came up with kind of a new social media platform, basically. And you can actually find the link scrolling across. It's tylerherwig.streetteam.fm.
Okay, that's that.
So
I was going to ask you. That was my next. Oh, I actually asked you without knowing. Okay.
Yeah. So this is like an online community that I have. It's very similar to like a Patreon where there's different levels of access. But it's an online community. There's a free tier as well that anybody can join, and it allows me to connect with people literally one-on-one. Like I do online meet and greets with people. I've done like custom song co-writing with my fans, which has been a really cool thing to kind of take some of their stories and bring them to life for them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You know, I host exclusive like contests and merch giveaways, so you can get cool hats like the one I'm wearing right now and all sorts of stuff. And so, but creating that platform has allowed me to connect with fans that I've had for years and years and years, and like I said, a very personal way.
That is nice. Yeah, because I'd seen the link and I went to it and I go, I'm going to ask about this, but I didn't realize that I asked about it without knowing that I asked about it. So.
Yeah, I think that's the direction that the music industry as a whole will shift eventually. Because I think, you know, we saw it with like MySpace, for example. There were people that had millions of followers on MySpace, and overnight it disappeared, and they were never able to get their traction back. And man,
you know, MySpace died the week that I subscribed to it. I mean, everybody told me when I was trying to figure out what social media thing I should do there. Oh, MySpace. Everybody you know is going to be on. Go to MySpace. Go to MySpace. I did find one person that I didn't know, and that got me into a lot of trouble. So it got me into fan films, and I did fan films for 6-7 years with those people. Yeah, so that, you know, now I'm doing fan film with somebody else, but you know, still, but MySpace got me into trouble, but there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to Facebook, but so I killed it. So it's all my fault, everybody. I killed MySpace.
So, all Michael's fault. We'll blame you for the.
Yeah, well, others have, so you know, why not? You know, I'll take responsibility.
Yeah. Oh man. But so like what I was saying is that I think that every social media platform I think has the potential to kind of die out. And I mean, we saw it with the rise of TikTok. A lot of people left Facebook and Instagram. We saw it with Vine, you know, competed pretty heavily with YouTube for a while, and then Vine got squashed, and you could have been the most famous person on Vine, and I don't know your name today. And so what that TYLERHERWIG.streetteam.fm allows me to do is that I own my fan base. You know, if you're a true diehard fan, I can never lose track of you now, because no matter what happens to the rest of the world, we have our own community that we're growing slowly and surely that will allow us to stay in contact and make waves for years and years to come.
That makes total sense. I mean, I totally get that. So I'm going to look into that more, because I said I just looked at it briefly, and then I'm going to ask him about this.
Yeah.
Is there, before we go off, because we're about closing out, but is there anything that you wanted to bring up that we haven't brought up?
You know, I don't think so. Just encourage your viewers. Hey, check me out. Let me know what you think of my originals, of my covers. Even if you hate them, there's no such thing as bad feedback, and you're not going to offend me. I've heard it all at this point, but I'd love for you guys to check it out, and feel free to join that street team and connect with me if you guys want to ask more questions or just get to know me and my story a little bit more.
And you got exclusive pictures on there and things like that, or?
Oh yeah, photo albums. There's exclusive merch that you can't find on my normal website. That's how you'd apply for like songwriting opportunities or house concerts or pretty much anything that you could ever.
All that good stuff, yeah.
anything you could ever want to do, you can do in the street team.
Cool. Yeah, I am going to look at that when we get off.
Yeah.
But Tyler, I'd like to thank you for coming. Jonathan, do you have any closing questions for him, or are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. It was great. It was great to meet you. It's cool to meet another artist that's kind of doing the same thing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I hope we can connect more later.
Yeah, that'd be awesome for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
But everyone out there on the internet, thank you for coming. This stream will be available afterwards to watch later. You just can't ask those live questions. I was upset that everybody was coming on, but no one was asking questions. But that happens sometimes. Maybe we were asking the right questions. Oh, well, I was just going to ask that. So I don't know. But anyway, I would like to thank everyone for coming, like I just said, and thank my guest Tyler and my special co-host. Hopefully Jonathan will want to come back and deal with me at another time, because I'm kind of crazy and that's just the way it is. So I mean, I shut down MySpace, so I do lots of things. So but everyone, take care, and we'll see you again at another time. Bye-bye.
Stay blessed, guys.
Thank you.